Okay, gang, so let's talk curtain walls. I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. The best way to sort of get into what curtain walls are to just show you the three versions that are built into Revit. We'll start with those. Ultimately, you can make curtain walls custom. It's totally up to you how you want them to look. Um, I think might be good to show you some examples of like what exactly do I mean by a curtain wall. So let me show you that. Okay, so I'm on Pinterest here and I just typed in architecture curtain wall design just to show you some examples. Um, this is actually a pretty good example here. So this is a curtain wall and it sort of looks like it's going past the second floor and it keeps going up. But basically this is kind of a window or a wall of glass. Okay. And you can design where you want the verticals to go, where you want the horizontals to go, and how your window gets broken up. So there's a lot of composition and design that you can do in just the layout of the window. Let me show you another one. So here's a good example too. You can see that there's these sort of smaller panels, there's bigger panels, and there's sort of a mosaic going on there, which is kind of interesting. Let's see. This one's pretty, this sort of layered effect. Um, here's a, well, no, that's not a good one. Let me, don't want us to get too ahead of ourselves. But here's a basic. This is curtain wall 101 right there, right? So that's a whole wall of curtain wall. And you can see this is all glass, but right here on these bands, this is what's called spandrel glass, which is glass, but the back side of it is painted so you can't see, say, the ugly floor plate that's behind it, and they're sort of hiding that part. Here's another example. So right here looks like either frosted or perhaps spandrel glass in these areas, but you can see the grid and how this is sort of broken up. Some buildings are like all curtain wall, but some just have bigger openings that are, curtain wall areas, and like this one a little bit. So this area here is a curtain wall. Here's a really good example. So this area is a curtain wall. So they just here's brick or whatever, some sort of white brick, and this area is carved out as wanting to be all glass, and this is how they chose to sort of break it up. So there is a million permutations that you can do with curtain walls. You can make them whatever you want. They can have doors in them, such as this looks like it has maybe two doors here, and then a nice curtain wall laid out there. So I would Google curtain walls maybe just to get some ideas on how you'd like to break it up. But I'm going to show you some of the features of Revit and their system tools just to get a curtain wall in your model. And then you can spend the rest of the semester designing it as you see fit. So let me close this. So how the heck do we do this, right? How do we make curtain walls? So in my model here, you can see I've deleted the front doors. I'm going to do a curtain wall on the end here for these two conference spaces, and then I'm going to do one here, and those will be the examples that I show you, and that should get you started definitely down the world of curtain walls. Okay, so I'm going to go to my level 1 floor plan, and I'm just going to draw something over here separate from my building to start. So where do we find curtain walls? I'm going to go up to wall, and I'm going to go architectural, and I'm going to click in my type selector here. And if you scroll almost all the way to the bottom, there's a section called curtain wall, and there's 3 different types in here. Okay, so I'm going to just take the first one, and I'm just going to draw a section right there. I am going to go to the second one. I'm going to draw a section right there. And I'm going to go to the third one and draw a section right there. So I just drew 3 different walls. Okay. They already look different, but 3 different walls. So let's go to the 3D view to see what the difference is. Okay. Basically, this is how it goes. The first one was called, make sure I get the names right here, Curtain Wall 1. The second one's called Exterior Glazing, and the third one's called Storefront. These essentially are the same wall. They're just, one has a little more detail in it than the first one. So look at it this way. Curtain Wall 1 is just a sheet of glass. Curtain Wall 2 is a sheet of glass with divisions in it. And Curtain Wall 3 is a sheet of glass with divisions, and on those divisions we have actual mullions. Okay, so the structure that sort of holds the glass and holds everything together. So the first one, again, just a sheet of glass. The second one is a sheet of glass with divisions, and the third one is kind of a sheet of glass with divisions with mullions. Okay. On the first one, I could turn this into this. Okay, so you can always make this into this. Likewise, I could make this into just a sheet of glass with no divisions and no mullions. But Revit sort of gives you these to start with. So maybe, why would you want to use the one versus the other? Maybe you just want to start with glass planes and be like, I don't really know what my divisions are going to look like, so I'm just going to put in a glass plane for now. I'll get to it later. Okay. For my example, I think I'm going to go, I'll show you just putting this in. I'll show you putting this in and then controlling the grid. And then I'll delete those and we'll just do this one. And we can kind of set this guy up. Okay. So I'm going to delete these. Okay, so let's do one just on the end here in the conference space. So I'm going to go to level 1 floor plan. I basically want it to go from this corner all the way over to here. So I'm going to go to wall, architectural, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to choose the first one, curtain wall 1. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edit type. And I just want to check, make sure that my automatically embed is checked. Now, what that basically means is that when I put this in the wall, the brick will disappear in where the curtain wall is. If that is not checked, then you're just going to see both of your walls living on top of each other, which is annoying. So make sure that that's checked. Okay, so mine is, yours might not be, just check it and hit OK. Okay, now we can draw a curtain wall. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to hover over this wall. I'm going to try to find somewhat the middle. I could do the middle of the CMU backup here, or I can do the middle of the whole wall. I'm just going to do the middle of the whole wall, and I'm going to draw the wall right there. I know it's not the full length, okay, but that's fine. If you're hearing screaming upstairs, it's my daughter. She tends to get excited when my toddler's around. So this sheet of glass is going from here to here. The brick is cut out, and I'm seeing the floor plate beyond. Let's go to the 3D view. Okay, we put a nice piece of glass in there. Doesn't look like it's where I want it, right? Like it's going too high, and the brick's not, it's cutting the brick, which I want, but not where I want it exactly. So let's go back to the floor plan. And let's grab our curtain wall and I'm just going to drag this over and try to align that to that part of the wall. Looks a little goofy here. Looks like something happened. Now this is where Revit gets a little goofy. You're going to have to sort of play around with it, but let me try to get this to work. So maybe I'll do my modify align tool. I'm going to go this inside wall to, let's see if I can, there we go. That one clicked over. Now I'm going to click this inside wall to, yeah, it's doing this funky thing. Let's see what that looks like in 3D. Just about where I want it, but I want this to turn the corner a little bit. So I need a little bit of a wall still there. So it's not quite working. So let's see if I can do that. I'm going to say create similar. Let's try that again. Actually, All right, this wall right here tends to like disappear a little bit. See, there's only a small chunk left. That's why it doesn't like the corner, but I'm gonna get it to work. Mark my words. So okay, if I get a little closer, it's working. Get too close and it just eats it up. So maybe I can. Come on. Let's see. Maybe I can try this. I'm gonna leave that how it is right now. Now let's go to this elevation and look at it. Okay, here's my sheet of glass. Not exactly where I wanted here, but I definitely want to pull the top down. So I'm going to bring this down. Maybe I'll align it to the roof, but then I want to bring it down a little more because the roof's right here. So I need to bring this down. Oh, let's see. See if I can get it down a foot. Here's a good way to get it right where you want. I could go view. Let's see. I'm going to go annotate detail line. I'm just going to draw a line from here. Let's see. Up to there is 15 feet. I want to come down at least a foot. So 14 feet. Well, here, maybe I can do it now that I see the structure beyond. Grab that piece and I'm going to bring it way down. No, I'm not. Here. Here's a better way to do it. Annotate detail line. I'm going to just go up 14 feet. That's where I want it. And I'm going to draw a line over. Now I'm going to just grab my curtain wall. I got to tab through to get it and just snap it down to that line. And then I'll delete these lines. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Let's go to the 3D view. It's about how I want it. I still want to see if I can fix that corner. Let's try again. Yeah, hates that. Hate it when Revit does that. So let's do this. I'm going to go draw another detail line. I'm going to bring this in 1 foot. So I'll bring this curtain wall in a foot just to align it where I want. Undo, cancel. Let's try that again. I'm going to go to modify, align. There. Okay. So I have a piece of glass in there. I can easily grab that piece of glass and mirror it about this structure line. And now I got it on both sides. So there, that looks pretty cool. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So that's going to be like my end conference walls. Here, people can sit in the windowsills and kind of not pay attention to whatever meeting they're in, and they can look out this beautiful glass window. So let me turn off that. So now let's talk about breaking this up a little bit. So we've got a piece of glass in there. I could grab this wall and I could change it right here to exterior glazing. Okay, and then some divisions occur in there. See that? Now let's go to edit type. Okay, let's look at what we have here. So vertical grid, horizontal grid is what I want you to focus on. Vertical grid, it has spacing of 6 feet. So this is 0 to 6 feet. It's going to put a line. And then if this glass was taller, it's going to do it again. So this, that doesn't really work for me. So I actually want to do 3.5 feet because let's see what that does. So I'm going to I put 3.5 feet, hit apply. And that's what we have now. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. The vertical grid spacing is this way. The distance between each vertical line now is 3.5 feet, which actually looks kind of cool, but let's try something else. 2 feet. Maybe I'm getting a little prison-y again, right? That looks a little intense. So maybe let's do 4 feet. Okay, so that looks all right. My spacing for the horizontal grid is 12 feet. So from here to here is 12 feet. So that's a little intense. I know that my window's 14 feet high. So how about we just do 7 feet? And then I know it'll split it right in half. Something like that. So that looks pretty good. Kind of like the way that's laid out. So I'm going to leave that now. 4 feet, 7 feet. I'm good there. Now let's look at this. Okay, so right now looking at it, it looks like this glass panel is bigger than this glass panel, right? So what I want to do is center my divisions, right? So that this panel and this panel are equal. Because this isn't divisible by whatever my vertical division is. Now I could go to my level 1 floor plan and let's just see how big this thing is. It's 19 foot 6.5. So that's kind of a tragic dimension, right? So I could make that a nicer dimension, or I'm going to click on my curtain wall here and I'm just going to go to vertical grid, justification, from beginning, change it to center, and horizontal grid from beginning and change that to center. Hit OK. Now I have an equal gap on either side. So this is a distance of, what did I say, 4 feet? So 4 feet, 4 feet, 4 feet, 4 feet, whatever's left over, centered on this piece of glass. And this one is 7 feet, 7 feet. Okay, so that looks like a pretty nice curtain wall, right? Now, if I grab this one and I change it to exterior glazing, it's going to have the same setup. Okay, but I will need to change this to center and center. But the divisions in the glazing are all set because we changed that in the type. So this particular one was changed. I went into edit type and changed that. So now if I change this to 4.5 feet and hit apply, it got a little wider, but now I get this weird leftover space and I don't like that. So I'm going to change this to back to 4 feet, hit apply. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I like how that looked. Now let's talk about getting some mullions on there. Now, one thing I could do is just click on it, change this to storefront. Okay, but that's not the same grid I set up, right? So if I go into edit type, these are spaced differently, and here are all the mullions that are assigned to it. Okay, so let me undo that. Let's stay in our exterior glazing. Go to edit type. And let's just keep our spacing right where we have it. That looks good. Now let's just change our vertical mullions and our horizontal mullions to something. So vertical mullions, interior type. So let me tell you what the difference between these two are. So here are vertical mullions, right? One on the end, all these in the middle, and another one on the end. So interior type will change all the ones in the middle. Border 1 type will change the one on the left. Border 2 type will change the one on the right, or vice versa. Okay, so let's just set all these to rectangular 2.5 by 5. That's a typical mullion. Rectangular 2.5 by 5. Let's hit apply. Look at that. Our vertical mullions are in there now. No matter where I place this exterior glazing, it'll use this division and it'll have the vertical mullions in there. Now let's add the horizontal. It's a couple choices of things to change, to do in here. You can play around with different ones, but this is the typical one, 2.5 by 5. I'm gonna hit OK. Okay, now I got one down below. Let's see here. Let's change this to a orthographic so we can really navigate a little easier so I can show you things. Got one up above. I got a nice window of glass there. Okay, that looks really good. I like how that looks. Now, I can always go in to my curtain wall, exterior glazing, edit type, and change the settings in here. If I want to keep this setting and leave it how it is, but I want to make a different one, I can just duplicate, call this one, exterior glazing 2, and I'll change the spacing here to 2 feet. Okay, I'm gonna hit OK. Now, this one is different from this one because this one is exterior glazing 2, and this one is just exterior glazing. So I could change this one to exterior glazing 2 because I have another type in here now. And now it has the same sort of effect. So you can make as many types as you want. This looks like a little too prisony for me. So I'll change that back to exterior glazing. So a good technique would be keep the exterior glazing just as is, whatever its default setting is, and then just duplicate it and make it your own. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here. So for curtain walls one, that's just sort of making a wall of glass. Now I could do that wherever else, right? I could also grab this thing and I could pull the bottom up, right? And make my curtain walls, they don't have to go to the ground like I have it, but in this case I want them to. Okay, so the next one I'm going to do is going to be over here and we're going to do the door and everything and add that in there. So stay tuned for that.